All right, so today's webinar is about Drupal 11 upgrade. I know most as Drupal 7 nears the end of life and Drupal 10 and 11 transitions begin, a lot of clients are asking, should they switch to WordPress or should they upgrade to Drupal 11? So this presentation today will cover, answer some of those questions, help with that decision, and provide some type of information to help you, come up with the decision. Okay, so today's webinar host will be myself. I'm here with Satish, who's the co-founder of
Guys,
Binary Works. I'm an account manager here at Binary Works, formerly Drupal Partners. I manage a good handful of our Drupal projects from, a lot of the university clients like MIT University, Flagler University, Roger Williams, and a few others. Georgia State University, a lot of pretty good sized universities, a lot of different projects that we manage.
right?
I have about 15 years or 10 years with the company. Satish, 16 years CMS engineering, and also the co-founder of the company.
Everyone, I'd be happy to help with your CMS decision, and also most importantly, uh, I'm very much now getting specialized with AI-driven UI UX optimization and improving AI-made changes on the site. All right.
All right, and as I mentioned, Drupal Partners, formerly Drupal Partners, now Binary Works. We're going through a rebranding, trying to discover a new identity. All right, so the agenda for today, we'll start with the introduction, which we've already seated. Then we'll get into the current state of risk here, current state risk and why now, the stake of your organization, evaluation lenses, decision toolkit, case studies, roadmap timelines, and how to get started. Okay. So introduction, the CMS choice upgrade or migrate. 60% of enterprises say CMS modernization as a top priority in 2025, and that's a Gartner report. And 100,000 plus sites still on Drupal 7, 45% are gearing up for the next move. All right, the current state, risk, and why now? Get into that. All right, so the current state and risk of staying in Drupal 7, 8, or 9. So as you know, there's going to be some security exposure, being that you're on an unsupported version. No security patches for core and contributed modules or themes. Those create any vulnerabilities that come about. You're not going to get a security patch from Drupal to address those issues. So it's recommended to upgrade and to keep your software updated, of course. There's some compliance issues there, with legacy platforms may fail audits. Even like some of the regulatory compliance standards like PCI, HIPAA, SOC 2, they require that your software have ongoing security support, or you'll get flagged sometimes. Definitely with any type of audits that you're doing for like security, you'll see that outdated software flag in any of those audits. So it's advised to try to stay up with the current version. 3 would be operational overhead, frequent patches, slow updates. So yeah, so while it may seem cheaper to keep things as it is, with just, it's not broke, let's not try to fix it type of attitude, you'll eventually run into security issues or some type of compatibility issues with like plugins, or that might cost you more maintenance, fixes, customizations, workarounds. Those things eventually become costly. So it's advised to try to stay current on the latest versions. Then you got talent challenges, like the ecosystem decline. You'll get a lot of developers not working on like extensions or plugins that they've developed. So they're not maintaining those plugins, and the older stacks will be coming into play. So then you got the performance issues, of course. With any technology, there's always going to be, like new technology improvements that might help speed up the site, um, keep the rankings up. And the worst performing sites are the lower ranking sites. As Google look at it with their algorithms, of course. You'll see that in PageSpeed Insights. Go in there and look at, say, your or Web Vitals, show those performance issues and how they impact your SEO. And 6, integration delays, harder to adopt new tools and features. Yes, like I mentioned, browsers like the JavaScript and the CSS get outdated. You'll have issues there. Like the newer front end technologies, you won't be able to integrate some of those with your older systems once those JavaScripts and CSS get outdated. So those are several reasons why it's not advised to stay on an older version. The next slide. All right, the stakes for your organization. All right, so the budget impact. CMS decisions can consume 15 to 30% of IT spend. So while it's important to upgrade, that initial investment is what everyone is always going to think about, right? When it comes to whether I should upgrade to Drupal 11 or should I switch over to WordPress. So let's say if you decide to stay on Drupal 11, the things that you'll have to consider, or if you decide to stay on Drupal and upgrade to Drupal 11, you'll have a moderate to high investment, of course, for the upgrade. It'll depend on like the number of modules, custom modules and themes and integrations that you're using, the cost that comes into play there. But the same would go with moving over to WordPress. It'll be somewhat of a moderate cost, for you, because you'll have to think about now the redesign of your website and all the plugin setup and all of the, like new components that you're introducing to your website. So there's costs both sides, but I think it'll probably be more, of a cost overall for you on WordPress, I would think, because of the having to adapt new technology, right, with your website. With security and compliance, so security and compliance, plugin heavy or unsupported CMS, major vulnerability risks. So I've always seen where, some of the WordPress sites that I've managed, there's always been some type of a security issue. I think it's not as a robust platform as Drupal would be, but it has good security, but it's just like more reliant on like third-party plugin integrities. Agility and end user convenience. Modern CMS speed campaigns and enhance its user experiences. Agility, I'm trying to see I didn't write this presentation, Satish did.
Yeah.
But Satish, you got a point there on that, agility and user.
Yeah. So what and the point is, if your site is in Drupal 7 or older versions, generally the modules are slow, so it will definitely have an impact on the agility, like the website speed. And
Mhm.
if there is going to be this new Web3 kind of plugins you're trying to install, it will not improve, it will not allow. So the user experience would be impacted. At the same time, this performance of the site or the any campaigns, whatever be the case, it will not be compatible. So that's a big issue. Even the fourth point is also the same kind of things on.
Performance wise, yes.
Yeah, it is more on the scaling side. If you're,
Caching.
yeah, 100,000 visitors, obviously the site, if it's not stable, not secure, it will not handle that.
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
All right, and point five, innovation readiness. AI modules require modern flexibility, CMS architecture. So yeah, so integrating, like chat functionality and all of the new AI modules, those things have to come into consideration, when you're thinking like an older platform versus the new technology, right? You want to stay current so that you can adapt some of the new technology out there, especially with AI modules that's coming about.
Right.
Decision framework, three strategic levels, costs, risk, and growth. So yeah, definitely, those are the things that you'll have to factor in most, of course, with your specific requirements, right?
Right.
Satish,
All right. Yeah, I'll take
question.
over from here, Johnny. Thanks for time. Uh, so again, I want to add one uh, important point here on this evaluation decision framework is, like, depending on the site, like if you are an media site or publishing site, then there's a big growth opportunity there, and there's a lot of content moderation needs would be there. So whatever site you're having and whatever industry you're in, depending on those things, we can evaluate which one is better. And to give an idea, like in this presentation, we are just talking about WordPress and Drupal. Those are two big open source CMS, but there are other CMS like Adobe CMS, so many CMS out there, but those are very way pricier than these plugin platforms. And even if you go to an headless CMS, uh, the cost of maintaining would be very high. So here we are just talking about the two big open source platforms alone. So that's how, even for evaluation criterias, we look at, we'll be talking about those based on those two platforms alone. So let's jump into the first one is the total cost to ownership, TCO. Uh, if you are look at Drupal, whether if you are in Drupal 7 or 8, 9, if you are looking to upgrade to Drupal 11 or WordPress, these are the things we always look at. If you are trying to migrate to Drupal 11, the cost would come around 20 to 30K. WordPress would be slightly cheaper than Drupal, but Drupal has way more better components, way more better security themes, everything. But WordPress doesn't have that. Even the cost of managing, hosting a Drupal site would be pretty high compared to WordPress, because WordPress you can easily get a server at less than $50. So maintaining and running a site for Drupal will be more pricier, and any change, or there will be always a frequent upgrades in Drupal site. So there will be always some kind of an high cost maintenance. uh, you will see between Drupal compared to WordPress. So overall, if you look around, close to 60 to 100K is what you need at least over the period of time to maintain a site, to upgrade and maintain a site in Drupal, whereas in WordPress it will be 30 to 75K. So, but all these things will work when if you are having any legal compliance and security, these things are critical. So if you are in a a government end or universities, having a WordPress may not be very useful, but it would be very easy to manage. So there will be always a trade-off between security and ease of operation. Drupal stands tall in the security and content moderation. WordPress is ease of use, not so secure. So that's how the next point is also about. If you look at security compliance, Drupal by itself, the core modules and even the community modules are completely vetted so that it is way secure than the other platforms, and it is can be easily managed in a single dashboard in the Drupal backend. And if you look at the workflow and access, you can also give granular level access to the users on what page, what level of access you want. All those kind of access and workflow control is possible in Drupal. And similarly, policy and compliance, it meets the standards of IRADS, government and enterprise audits. All these things, even HIPAA compliance, FedRAM, PCI environments, it works well with those kind of environments. So Drupal is a compliance ready web platform compared to WordPress. So the same thing, if you look at the WordPress stack, mostly it depends upon the third party, your Cloudflare or the third party WAF platforms to protect the security attacks. And it also is depend on heavily depend on the third party plugins, which in case if has any security loophole, your site is also being going to affected. So there is always there has to be a lot of patches on the WordPress site. And similarly, any manual rollback and the documentation is also required. And similarly, on the access and workflow control, the maximum you can do is multi-factor authentication, single sign-on are available, but it is not to a granular level. On page level, you can give an access to a user. It has to be the main admin or editor. That's the only few access you have. Compliance, it is as I said earlier, the site is not compliance ready. It depends. You have to vet the third-party plugins, and everything needs to be always backed. It's not a very secure way to have the site. Guys, if you have any questions, also please publish your questions in the chat. I would be happy to answer. So you don't need to wait till the last. So the performance and core web vitals, if you look at it, Drupal is an highly optimized site, so that the sites in general it can easily perform better. So the average core web vitals you can take it to 80 to 95 seconds, or 95 in core web page speed score. WordPress it is a little bit less. The site can load faster in 1 seconds. The FID, the first input delay, is less than 100 milliseconds in Drupal, whereas in WordPress it is under 150 milliseconds. And similarly, the caching strategy is way better than WordPress. That's why again it is loading fast. It has a built-in dynamic varnish and CDN ready. And similarly, build consideration like we use twigs, twig templating, decoupled options, headless options. All these things are available. Mostly for WordPress, it is theme plugin. So it is Drupal is more modern in terms of the architecture and site loading and everything. Any questions? Okay, I don't see any questions. All right. The next one is the editorial velocity. Like if you are having a site and basically CMS sites to publish contents, Drupal has a lot of structured way that you need at least to spend to publish a content to make it live at least 15 to 25 minutes. For WordPress, you can launch a blog post in 5 to 10 minutes. It is faster to launch, but if you are looking for any approval process, somebody editor has to approve it, author has to then recorrect it, those kind of workflows, if you're looking at, WordPress doesn't have those kind of features. So Drupal has have a better capability of managing the collaboration and also approval workflow, all these things. It has the better experience. So on editorial, it is a 50-50. It is not so fast like WordPress. Drupal is not so fast, but it is more secure and more easy to do content authoring and content approval. All these things are pretty native for Drupal sites, right? And the next one is the feature parity and AI integrations. Uh, Drupal by default, they have already started spending a lot of tasks in supporting Drupal AI. Even when Dries came to Atlanta this year, he was talking this moonshot where Drupal AI is available now. They can launch the site pretty quickly. So Drupal has already invested on these Drupal AI based applications, and it is pretty much integrated with CRM, ERPs, and any support modules. All these things it is available. Even the governance and security. If you look at it, the queue workers, security management, event triggers, those are also now AI driven in Drupal. WordPress have started in investing in this AI side, but there are not many progress happened because we went to WordPress conference on August this year. So WordPress is, as a community, it is waking up because people are using Lovable to create a site pretty easily than they used to do with WordPress. So WordPress has started investing on those kind of AI based tools, AI based application driving development, all these things. So again, it also support headless websites, um, but the only problem is the plugins. Whenever you are selecting a plugin, you have to be make sure that the plugin is validated and tested for any security issues. And yeah, and the migration was upgrade cost. So if you are doing a migration Drupal site, some big sites like enterprises, it might take 12 to 36 months, at least 8 to 12 months. The risk is pretty low because you're already in Drupal, so the upgrade is always going to be easy. But if you are in WordPress, the initial upfront cost to set up all the elements would be much easier, but customization, doing the proper redirects, because whenever you do a migration like Drupal to WordPress, the SEO needs to be redirected properly. The content juice has to flow to the new site properly. So that's a big effort, and it can also impact your business. Right. Any questions? All right. I don't see any questions. I hope everybody is clear. All right. So the next one is the community and the ecosystem. So Drupal as an enterprise kind of focused community, there are so many open source Drupal developers are out there, and even companies are contributing their allocating specialized budgets to support Drupal ecosystem to Drupal modules. Because whoever are partners of Drupal right now are called Drupal certified partner, they have to allocate a limited time from their company for Drupal module supports. And a Drupal team has a pretty good security team, workflow advisory workflows. So they have a pretty all the bases covered in terms of their development, security, and maintenance. So they are an enterprise focused community. But WordPress, there are so many developers out there in the market in WordPress, and there are a lot of modules available. They don't have a lot of security systems to validate these modules, but it is a very vibrant community, and there will be you can easily access many freelance resources or in-house resources for WordPress. And so the next one again, we talked about as the fifth point, the future proofing of your CMS decision. So, as I said earlier, Drupal 11, if you look at it now, they started adopting these early AIs, and they're investing on headless pilot projects and enterprise integrations. But WordPress, it is easy to publish, just started investing on AI. So, but it is still more reliant on the plugin ecosystem, and they're heavily focused on SMBs alone. So, 3 years from now, we don't know what will happen, but something like people will not be using the UI UX based browsers itself. Like, I don't know how many of you guys saw 2 days back, OpenAI said that they are going to launch a new kind of browser where the user experience will become irrelevant. So the sites has to operate in a headless API driven. And if you look at it, Drupal 11 is way leading in that, and WordPress, I believe they are still plugin based. They also support headless, but to become more functional to these new kind of browsers, they have to open up a lot on the AI side. And 5 years from now, it is going to be mostly AI agents, enterprise AI agents, and there has to be a proper governance in the organization. So the Drupal 11 seems to be a clear winner now, but things might change. WordPress as the headless option, but it is still marketing led, and it is not adapting to the vendor's need. Right? Any questions? Right. So the decision toolkit again. This could be the last topic on this area. So you have these kind of 7 to 8 categories of areas how you can fix. So this is our weighted percentage for each of the criteria, like your total cost of ownership, how much you should think about it, and what is the percentage of weight we can give to it. Similarly, security compliance, what percentage of weight we can give, and similarly, performance, your editorial velocity, and migration complexity. So if you look around between these two, WordPress or Drupal, Drupal stands at 3.75, whereas WordPress stands at 3.4. So depending on the site size, number of pages you have, you can decide on the platform. But in general, Drupal is weighing more than the WordPress sites. And this is the decision flow chart we have arrived at. So if you are looking, the basic thing is, if you are in government or universities, if you have a strict compliance, straight away go to Drupal 11. You don't need to even think about how to make your site in WordPress to follow these things. If you have a strict compliance, just go for Drupal 11. Otherwise, think about whether WordPress could be an alternative. So you can have these criteria, whether they are API driven or what kind of traffic you're going to get. So all these things you can decide and make a decision whether to go with Drupal 11 or WordPress. So the additional decision drivers is obviously for Drupal is multilingual, API first integrations, and it has a clear governance and audit of all the activities taken in the site is logged in the site in the backend. So it is future ready for AI personalization too. But if you look at WordPress, it is marketing led and content focused sites, like content heavy sites would be there. and people don't need to sign up, or it is a kind of a blog sites that is WordPress is pretty famous for. And but overall managing the site in WordPress is less opex than Drupal. You can also do headless CMS or go hybrid, something like use Drupal in the front end and in the back end, and manage WordPress for microsites, um, for role alignments, all these things you can do. So it is in a hybrid approaches, Drupal in the back end and WordPress in the front end, right? So this again, I'm sorry, there is. So the overall what we wanted to highlight in the picture, for some reason the top of the screen is cut. Uh, what we are trying to say is, if you are looking to migrate, don't just think about the basic CMS cost and the host and infrastructure cost, the initial development alone. Think about all the written costs, like the custom modules development or maintaining them, and any QA hours spent for the multi-site. All these things will be there. For WordPress, you need to frequently update your plugins, integrate with CRM. You have to use, for some time, you have to write your own plugin CRMs for them. So it is easy to maintain, but Drupal 11 is pretty secure, and the structure of the site would be pretty safe with Drupal 11. All right, any questions? All right. So the ROI takeaway. So Drupal by general, if you are trying to migrate, there will be always some kind of a downtime. At least 2 hours of downtime would be there. So that is a big drawback. And similarly, if you are trying to upgrade, um, there will be always limited security during those kind of upgrades. That's a bigger one, and it takes longer time. And you again, the site is more for enterprise, so you have to spend a lot of support hours after the launch. And but in the future, you will save a lot of time for marketing, for ranking in Google, all these things. If you look at it, WordPress, it is pretty easy to build a site in WordPress. You can do 25 to 40% quicker, and the upfront cost would be reduced, and it is will be very flexible for your use. It will be very flexible for content editing and everything. All right. This is again a calculator we have. Again, I can we can share the screen, share this presentation to see how you rank. What would be the ROI benefits if you go to Drupal 11 or WordPress? So, so some of the case study we see is Roger William universities. We migrated them from Drupal 9 to 11. Some of the issues that Roger William universities faced is their site is slow, and it's not engaging for users, and the contents are not personalized in any way. So when we migrated them to Drupal 11, we make sure the site is loading faster, and the contents are available to them pretty easily. And most importantly, the site would be up 99.9% of the time with continuous integration, monitoring, and everything. So what this shows is Drupal 11 upgrade is by default the default path for enterprise. And if you are looking at this performance and site governance and important element, you should go for Drupal 11. Again, also the security risk is mitigated, and that way you save a lot of headaches, not building the site and getting hacked. Right. Similarly, we also have a case study for another client called Catholic Charities, where we migrated their site from Drupal 7 to WordPress. Um, some of the things that we looked at is the content mapping should be easier, and you should find out what are the marketing opportunities in the site, um, and you do the canonical for SEO redirects and caching, all these things you have to do. So we implemented all those changes on the new website we built for them. We improved their core web vital score. We created the canonical tags, SEO redirects, all these things we were able to do with WordPress. So what this says is, with if you're having a very strict budget, um, so our recommendation is to go with WordPress, but try to use minimal plugins or backups to keep the site safe. And other than that, the site speed and SEO can be improved on the site. All right. So the next one is the roadmaps and timeline. So if you're looking at 7, 8, 9, if you're looking to move to Drupal 11, it will take somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. Um, so this is again a plan how we'll take your site from Drupal 7 to Drupal 11. And similarly, Drupal 7 to 8 to WordPress, um, it is even much faster. The data transfer is also now automated nowadays. So, but when you are going for enterprise version, you have to be careful on many aspects rather than creating it for a small startup in your area. How to get started? For people who are coming to this event, we are trying to provide a free session for them to identify which would be the right platform for you. So our team's recommendation is you can take a free audit for your site, and you can make a decision on whether the site is the best one for you or not. So let me share your link for you guys so that you can, let me share that link. So you can decide whether the Drupal 10 or 11, whatever would be the best platform for you. You can, let me share the link for you in the chat. So we'll run a free audit for you guys, and we'll evaluate your current site. Sorry, my link is not pasting. Okay. We will do a free evaluation for your site, uh, where we will analyze if you're eligible for Drupal 11. In case if not, we will recommend you to migrate to WordPress, and we'll create a clear, perfect roadmap for you. So this one is completely free for the attendees here. You can take an advantage of it. All right. Any other questions for us? All right. I hope this session is useful. We'll try to send you this presentation along with the recorded video. And if you have any questions, please send us an email to yourfriends@drupalpartners.com, or to me or Johnny. I'll just drop in our email address in the chat. So you can always reach out to us for any questions. Let's type in. So you can reach out to us at any point of time. Would be happy to help. Try to make the decision if you are in Drupal 7, 8, or 9. Try to make the decision quicker. Drupal 8 and 9 upgrade is pretty easy. Drupal 7 to 11 is the big upgrade, or Drupal 7 to WordPress is a kind of a big upgrade. If you are in Drupal 8 or 9, upgrading to Drupal 11 is pretty easier one. But that's it from my end. Johnny, you want to add anything?
Nope. Thanks for the overview, and hope you all have a great rest of your day.
All right, guys. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.